finishing detail, with a perfect finish, a break, then all of your setups and positions and stuff like that will get better because you're just going to be constantly looking for those same details. Does that make sense? Like once you learn an armbar really well, then like all of your armbar setups start to improve because you know what to look for when you're setting up an armbar. And then it becomes, instead of it just being rehearsed movements that you just drilled 20 times and memorized, it actually becomes a part of your actual body movement. So the first one we're going to work is just a basic outside jewel hook. And we're just going to work it from ashi because that's the most basic leg entanglement, right? So ashi is basically this here. My inside leg is moved over. The placement of your inside foot is going to be up to you, what you guys like. I have small feet and like I have short legs, so I like to tuck my foot in like under the butt when I do it. Like I go right under the butt there. I know a lot of people like to go to the back side of the other leg here. I don't really like that because I think it's a little easier for them to pull my foot out. And they can do like toe holds right here and stuff like that. And they're really dangerous, like really dangerous for you. So I don't like to expose that. So I tuck it in underneath. But either way, what we're really trying to do here is we're trying to use this leg, this top leg, to pin the hip. Do you guys understand that? One big part of doing leg entanglements is creating hip pins. Because if you can't pin your opponent, you most likely can't foot lock them. They have to be swept to get foot locked. If you're trying to foot lock someone who's standing, it's going to be super low percentage, right? Like, almost never going to work. So, we want to be pinning our opponent. Once I sweep my opponent, I want to keep them down. So in ashi, the pin comes from this top leg, and it just pinches down. My knee is pushing down into her hip and pinching down towards the floor, okay? This is what we call a leaning structure. So it's leaning over. I'm not like pressing, like I'm trying to do anything crazy here. I'm just leaning it over, okay? And I'm keeping my foot tucked in nice and tight under her butt there, just like that. Now my other leg is going to come up, and my heel is going to go right on her hip here, right? And I'm really looking to get my heel like on her hip bone there, like that. I just lay it up there. You don't have to put it in front of the hip bone or over the hip bone. Just put it on the hip bone, okay? Because I'm not going to push her away with this leg unless I do an ankle lock, which I'm not going to do. So when I put this leg here away, essentially what I'm doing is I'm leg curling. I'm pulling, okay? So this knee is leaning and pushing down, and this leg is curling in. So it should be something like this. You see what I'm saying? You should be making like this kind of a motion. This is pulling, this is pushing, all right? If you push with this bottom leg, it's going to be easy for her to retract her leg, okay? If you pinch in with your top knee, it's going to be easy for her to come up. So these are just kind of like little ideas that you're going to find to control your opponent. Whenever you're working in leg entanglements, since you're trying to pin your opponent, you have to have something that presses down and something that locks your hip in at the exact same time. And all of your leg entanglements need to have it. So an ashi leg entanglement has this wrapping hook here is what's pulling me into the leg and keeping me anchored and glued to her, while this leg is also pinching, which keeps me glued to her, but is leaning, which keeps her pushed down on the mat. You guys understand? So that's this one. Like if I went to double outside ashi, then I would do it a different way. This leg would shoot deep and curl and pinch down, that keeps her from coming up, and then I just put this leg right on the top and curl in, and now not only does she not have the ability to come up, but I'm also anchored to her as well. You guys see what I'm saying? 411 is no different. If I was here in the 411 position, it's exactly the same, right? This shin pins everything down, this leg curls in, and everything locks and glues me to her leg. So it's the exact same principles over and over and over. You just have to learn how to apply them from different angles. And of course, every leg entanglement, every configuration has its advantages and disadvantages. Ashi is just the fastest one because it requires the least amount of setup. You can just shoot right to this position super easy. So I'm here, my foot is tucked, everything is pinched up nice and tight. Now, there's a third layer of control, and it comes from your upper body. What I need to be doing here, of course I have all this, but I also need to be pinching this foot back like that, and then just keeping it controlled here, keeping it pushed away, right? You guys understand? If it's being pushed away, it's going to be very hard for her to straighten her leg, it's going to be very hard for her to retract her leg or spin in either direction. Her leg is being torqued in 3 different directions. My legs here are pinning her hip back, so it's creating a pressure that goes down this way. my hips are pressing in, which creates a pressure going that way, and my upper body is leaning back, which creates a pressure going that way. So there's 3 points of pressure. You guys understand? We call this the wedge principle because it's like a wedge. You know what I mean? One of my guys likened it to like a pipe bending machine. If you guys know what that looks like, it's got like 3 wheels. You stick a pipe in it, and the wheel, 2 go down and 1 goes up, and it bends it. The thing is, if you try to pull the pipe out while it's in the machine, it won't come out. You have to release the machine and pull the pipe out. And that's kind of the idea here. I'm bending this. My hips are going forward, my legs and my upper body are going back. So our leg is bent. There's no straightening. There's no nothing. And it's going to stay here until I break the leg. You guys understand what I'm saying? So this is my pressure. I'm in Ashi. My knee is controlling her ability to come up. My legs are curling, right? And I have the leg here and it's ready to attack. Whatever attack you guys choose doesn't matter. This is just the control we're going to use, right? So this is Ashi. Beyond Ashi, we have our finishes, and our finishes are going to be determined by our orientation to the leg, okay? So if my hips are behind her knee, so if I'm in a position like this here, where my hips are pointed directly into the back of her knee, then I'm going to do an ankle lock, okay? You guys understand? I would just keep going this way, and then I would attack her ankle. It would be pretty easy. If my hips are on the side of her knee, like this, then I'm going to do a heel hook. You guys understand? A heel hook is, and the way a heel hook works is basically like your heel and your knee are connected. Look. You see how like one turns with the other? They can't turn independent. If they do, stuff starts breaking, right? So that's what I want to do when I do a heel hook. I want to go here. Notice that my hip is on the side of that knee. Once I make a grip, this is the most inconsequential part of all of it. Heel hook is a deceptive name for this submission because in reality it should be called like a lateral knee bar. All the damage I want to make should be in the knee, not in the ankle, right? Like most of the time guys don't really tap to their ankles. They only tap when they feel damage in like an elbow or a knee, something like serious like that. An ankle they'll take pops on all day. So you want your pressure to be here. So essentially what I'm going to do, whatever grip I choose, there's several different grips. I'm just going to lock this heel so that it can't rotate. See, her heel can't rotate down anymore. It's locked. It can go that way all day, but it can't go down anymore. So I'm just locking that in. And then with my hip, I'm going to rotate her knee the other way. Do you see how she taps? So when you do a heel hook, it has next to nothing to do with this up here and everything to do with your hip. All I'm doing is locking it in. Okay, if her leg can't rotate, that means that there's going to be tension if I put my hip in. See how she taps really fast and I have to do next to nothing? I mean, you could literally do a heel hook like this. You see how she taps? It takes no pressure, no strength, no anything, right? All I have to do is lock that. And all of your heel hooks work that way. The inside heel hook works the same way. You just got to get your hip on this side. Does that make sense to you guys? You guys following me so far? So all I'm doing is locking this. It doesn't matter if I use this grip or this grip or, this grip. None of that matters. All that matters is that this can't rotate and that I force the knee to rotate in the opposite direction with my hip. And that's a heel hook. And it's going to break the knee. You're going to feel it in your knee, right? People talk about heel hooks. You don't feel anything until it pops. It's not really the case. You know what I mean? This hurts really, really bad. Notice how fast she's tapping. Feels like your knee's melting. You know what I mean? It's a very, very good, very technical submission. It's going to damage the knee right away. So be very careful when you guys do it. One thing about applying these types of submissions, guys, is this type of submission has direct breaking pressure. This is not like a pain move. You know what I mean? You can't put 40%, 50% pressure on this thing without damage being done. So when you guys apply these on each other, you have to apply them in a very safe, controlled way, right? When you do this to your training partner, do it slow. If they can just yank out of your heel hook, then you have a problem with your entanglement, not with your heel hook. Does that make sense? You need to train your entanglement more. Just like you're like, I think I know how to do an armbar from the mount, but every time I mount that purple belt in class, he just gets right out. Like, it's not a problem with your armbar, it's a problem with your mount. You guys understand? So you should be able to catch this position and then just hold it. There's really nowhere to go. Once this is locked in, there's no escape. She can't roll, right? If she rolls that way, her knee will go right into my hip, which is where the pressure is being created. If she rolls that way, her heel can't go that way. It's the same exact thing, right? If she tries to go out, I'm leg curling. If she tries to come up, I'm pinching down with my knee. There's nowhere to go. She should literally just be stuck here until she taps. When I roll with like the white belts and the blue belts at my school, when I catch them in a heel hook, I just catch it here. And I just wait, you know? And I engage my hips and stuff, but not much, like 2%. And they'll fight a little bit and then they'll go, alright, whatever, and they'll tap. You know what I mean? Because you can't get out. There's no, it's a true checkmate, you know what I mean? And those exist in jiu-jitsu all over the place, but this is the true checkmate for the outside heel hook. And all of your entanglements have that, but that's how you do it with this one. You guys understand? So be very careful. This is real breaking pressure, alright? Do you guys have any questions right now? No? Alright, cool. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Ashi, and then we're going to try to rep this outside heel hook. I know it's a lot, like, to all the Ashi details and all the heel hook details at the same time, but we're going to spend a lot of time on these finishing details. So don't worry about it. We're going to make sure everybody gets it. Alright, questions? Alright, let's get it, guys.